Unit 2, fossil plants. Fossil plants. Here we will see the process of fossilization, then early land plants, in which we have to study Coelophyton and Rhynia. Coelophyton and Rhynia. Then we have to study Cycadioidea, then Spanophyllum, then geological time scale, then importance of fossil study. So this is the importance of fossil study. So in it, the first which we will today discuss is the process of fossilization. So first, to study the process of fossilization, first you have to know what is fossils. Fossils are the preserved remains, impressions, or traces of plants, animals, and other organisms that lived in the past. So basic words which you have to remember is impressions or traces of plants and animals and other organisms that lived in the past. And one more thing you have to remember, preserved form. So fossils could be either preserved form or impressions or traces. For example, when we say fossils, what are fossils? It could be bones and teeth of animals, shells of marine organisms, imprints of leaves or animal footprints, entire insects or small animals trapped in amber. So here we have defined fossil. You see, plant remains that are found in the rocks are known as fossils. That is a very simplified definition. I have before told you what is the definition. It is either a preserved form or impressions or traces. The word fossil has been derived from the Latin verb fodere, which means to dig. Okay, so fossils can be simply said to be organic, that is plant or animal remains, or fossils include not only the remains of the organism or parts of it, but also anything connected with an organism to prove its existence. So as I said, a trail mark of a worm or even an imprint of a leaf is also fossil. The study of fossil is called as paleontology, in which if you study the plant part, that is called as paleobotany. Next we have to see the process of fossilization. When we talk about process of fossilization, so here we have to understand that paleontology. So paleontology is the branch of science which deals with the study of fossils, in which paleobotany or paleogeology. Paleobotany is a branch of biology which deals with the study of plant life of the geological past. And in what you call paleobotany, we will now see first the process of fossilization, and then we will move on to what you call how you name the fossils. So when we say what is process of fossilization, first you have to understand a term because a term called form genus. Okay, now when we say form genus, why we have to understand form genus? Because the whole plant as a fossil will be very rarely intact. You will find only parts of it being intact. So parts of it being intact means the parts are not the whole plant. It could be a part could be a leaf, a part could be a root, and hence we use the term called form genus. A form genus is a classification used in paleontology for fossils that cannot be confidently assigned to a known biological genus because they are incomplete or represent only a part, trace, or feature of an organism. Since many fossils are preserved as fragments like leaves, spores, footprints, shells, scientists sometimes classify them based on their form or appearance. So main characters when we say form genus, of course it is an artificial system, not a true biological or genetic grouping, and it is used when the entire organism is unknown and only a part of it is available. And the classification is based on morphology, shape, size, form rather than evolutionary relationships. For example, the fossilized leaves or pollen grains may receive a form genus name because it is difficult to link them to the original parent plant. As we see now here, uh, according to the part found, the form genus will have certain endings. Now suppose if it is a leaf part, then we can use the word phylum. If it is a frond like structure, then we can use the word teres. If it is a tree trunk which is found in fossil, then we can use the word dendron. If it's a woody part, then as you see, xylon. If we find seeds in some form, then these words could be used: spermum, carpon, carpus, or stoma. If it is a microsporangium part which is discovered as fossil, then we use the word theca. And if it is a strobilus, or if it is a cone, then we can use the word strobilus or strobus. So this each part will be a form genus. The paleontologist or paleobotanist will work on it and then try to reconstruct the whole plant from the different parts which has been discovered. So this forming that means it's just like a puzzle in which they put the parts together and a complete plant can be formed. Next, what we have to see is the fossilization process. In the fossilization process, what we see, of course, for the fossilization process means that fossils are found. So it is the process of preservation of an organism or its part in the form of fossils. Okay. So here we will see in the next slide the diagram of it. Basically, it will include decomposition, post-mortem transport, burial, compaction, and other physical or chemical biological activities which affect the remains of the organism. Let us quickly move on to the next slide just to see the sequence. So here you see the organism, living organism, after its death. After its death, then the dead remains would be there. That dead remains has to undergo burial process. That means it has to go under the soil, under the sediments, under the say lava ash. It has to go, so it has to bury, and then it will be buried remains. Okay, so this process of dead remains getting buried, this is what we call as biostratinommy. The buried remains then will undergo certain physical and chemical changes. These physical and chemical changes occurring in the buried remains, that process is what we call as diagenesis, and through that process the fossil will be formed. Here what we have said again here is the dead remains, it need not be always that it goes to this sequence. It could again move to this one. That means delayed burial could be there. Why delayed burial? There could be certain factors like wind which has taken over the layers which had buried it, or water which had eroded it, or microorganisms which will act on it and decompose it further. So many processes could occur simultaneously, and as a result what can happen, there could be a delay in the burial process. So delayed burial, after bury also again there could be certain physical processes which would again resurface that part, so it will get exposed. So if it gets exposed, then what do you call, there could be these chances, two chances. uh, if it is occurring during this stage, then what you find, there could be, say, the damage of the fossil and the fossil may not be formed. But if after bury, then the delayed burial is there, then also if it gets exposed, then it might break, or the fossil structure would be damaged, because it has to undergo through these changes to permanently form fossil. So permanent process is diagenesis. So let us again move back to the slide. So here you see a very important thing. Suppose this, I think we have understood, decomposition. That means after death of an organism, decomposition would be there. There would be transport of that organism. There will be burial. Then there is this compaction. Now what is compaction? When we say compaction, when an organism dies, its body may settle on the ground or seabed and become quickly covered by sediment such as mud, sand, or silt. Over time, more and more sediment builds up above the remains. The weight and pressure of these accumulating layers gradually compress or compact the lower layers. As compaction increases, water and air are squeezed out, okay, from the buried sediments, making the remains more tightly packed. Okay, and after that, this compression helps preserve the shape and structure of the organism, preparing it for later stages in which there could be mineralization, which turns the remain and surrounding sediments into rock. So after compaction, what can happen? This is that is why we have used physical, chemical, or biological activities in which mineralization could be there. Biological activities means there could be reworking because of some bacterial activities which affect the remains of the organisms. So all these processes will lead to the formation of the fossil. This process that occurs between the death, as I have already said, death of an organism and its subsequent burial in the sediments, that is biostratonomy. And diagenesis is what? After burial, the physical and chemical effects after burial. Now, what are these physical and chemical effects? These things we have to see. Number one is dissolution. What happens in dissolution? We have to see dissolution is actually original material dissolves and creates molds or cavity. Then there is replacement. In replacement, what happens? Original molecules replaced by new minerals. Fossils retain shape but not the original material. So in replacement, we understood the original material is not there. In recrystallization, what happens? Original mineral reorganize into more stable crystals. Fossil composition stays same but texture changes. So these three we have to remember, as I have said. Remember this: the dissolution, replacement, and recrystallization. So now this diagram already I have told you. So living organism, remember the process: dead remain to bury, biostratonomy, and bury to fossil, the changes, physical and chemical changes which occur, is diagenesis. Next, what you have to see is that during the process of fossilization, now we have understood, first the protoplasmic contents disappear, softer parenchymatous tissues disappear, harder wood and sclerenchymatous cutaneous tissue resist to the last. Then there is decay caused by organisms, followed by growing pressure of the heavy sedimentary rocks above. The pressure first reduces the vacant spaces inside the cells and forces the watery substances out. This is what I have already told you. This is what we call as compaction. Some organic substances may also escape as marsh gas. Marsh gas is basically methane or humic gases. The part thus gets compressed and transformed into fossils. This whole process of fossilization, then, to summarize what happens: fossil will be formed mainly, number one, there has to be rapidity of burial, how quickly it gets buried, the low amount of available oxygen, because then decomposition will not occur and original material would be present in the fossils. Then rapid infiltration by mineral substances is another factor which will give you good fossils. There has to be protection against high winds, okay, but presence of autolytic or microbial decomposition. If this occurs, then what can happen? It will reduces the chances of preserving soft tissues. Hard parts, of course, like bones, shells, or teeth may remain. So this autocatalysis basically is when death occurs, the cell membrane ruptures, enzymes begin digesting surrounding tissues. This autocatalysis surrounding tissues, and this process causes autolysis or self-digestion, leading to rapid soft tissue destruction unless burial is quick. So apart from this, this is a factor which is not giving you good fossil, but otherwise these are the 5 factors based on which we will see good fossil formation. So this is the summary as a whole, the process of fossilization. Thank you.